Streaming. Okay. Stream URL. There we go. Should be live. What kind of link is this, man? The fuck is this? Live is not working. What the fuck? Okay, there we go. Finally got that out. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started here. Still have the Nasdaq 15-minute chart currently sitting. Actually, let's take a look at the Russell first. So when I made my video, I think it was this morning, the Russell was not up 1.13%. I think we were right around the 20-period moving average here, right around this area. And so for now, Russell has managed to get back above it. We did get a cross here between the 50 and the 200, which is bearish, which tells us why probably we rallied here. Usually you rally into those kinds of moving average crossing. Excuse me for that noise. But yeah, we're just watching to see what happens on the Russell. Taking a look at the S&P, we're currently up 0.6%. Currently back above the 20, back above the 10. The 10 is getting back above the 20, but they're still under the 50-period moving average. Now, they are under the 50, but they're also above the 200. So the long-term trend here in the hourly chart is still up because we still have the 50 above the 200. So we're still watching to see, as I said, you know, a very, very important open because NASDAQ is still getting a higher low for now. Still. And now it's getting above the 10. It's getting above the 20. As I mentioned, the opportunities usually come surrounding the 50 here. If we bounce off the 200 and that's all we get, we don't get the crossing, then, I mean, the crossing between the 50 and the 200, then we probably just continue going upwards. We get the 10 and the 20 back above the 50, and then we start bouncing off of those, and the move just continues to go up. We don't have really any divergences in the immediate price action here for NASDAQ, but we do have a ton of hidden bullish divergences here. We could even start at the very bottom of this move up, and usually whenever you get a divergence with the very bottom or the very top of a move, usually that marks the turn. And here we have a few hidden bullish divergences, because look at this. As you can see here, market, I'm going to put this line, I'm going to make it a dash line. Market is getting higher highs while the MACD here is making lower lows. So that is definitely a hidden bullish divergence, and we're going to keep watching that here as the session continues. But right now it's looking pretty strong. As I told you, the Russell is at a critical area, so this could very well be a major bottom here on the Russell, or we could break it. We're going to be watching what happens surrounding this area. Do we get a bottoming process? If we bounce off of this, off of this little head and shoulders here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do we come up? Do we actually break this critical level? If we break that critical level, then we can really start looking into more upside for the Russell. Really start buying back into the Russell back down at this lower trend line. If we can breach this, come back down, correct for a little bit, and then bounce off of it, that's going to be very interesting. So a lot of good things for us here. A lot of good opportunities, I believe, are presenting themselves. NASDAQ still looks bullish to me. I mean, you have the 50 above the 200 in this time frame. We had a little bit of correction here. Maybe this was ABC. For now, we only got ABC on the NASDAQ. This is definitely the level that we have to break through on the very short term. So we'll be looking at what happens. We'll be looking at what happens surrounding this trend line. And look at this. You can really notice that most of the time, trend lines seem to follow moving averages. So here on this time frame, I just drew the trend line from this top to this top, and as you can see, it's exactly our 50 period moving average. That's why moving averages are so powerful, because they're basically your trend lines. Your trend lines really form around the moving averages. As you can see here in the longer term moves, this moving average, the 200 here, was our trend line, was it not? We came back up to the trend line basically. We corrected around it, blah blah blah. You always want to be keeping an eye out for the moving averages. So let me just go ahead and get into a little bit of a smaller time frame, see what I can see here. As you can see, even on a smaller time frame, we're starting to turn a little bit more bullish for now. We do have the moving averages under the 200, but we are trying to get back above the 200 here. If we can get above the 200 successfully, come down, retest maybe the 200 at a later date here, at the end of the day, whatever, and bounce off, then it's bullish. Then you have the doors open to this critical level here that we would come test, this critical level here that we would come test. I told you the opportunities for me came at this trend line. I posted it on my Twitter, the bucket chop, the_bucket chop. This is my Twitter right here, the_bucket chop. Make sure you give us a follow. It really helps me out. But I posted in the morning, right before the day of the top there on Thursday. As you can see, I had that trend line in right there. We had 3 touches. We had a ton of opportunity here. This was the opportunity. I posted this. I even posted it earlier before all of this went down right there. So you can see here on October 12th, we were still within the trend line. If you can see, we had a big move down. We dropped back under the 10 and the 20. Let me just show it to you right here on the hourly chart. We dropped back down right here below the 10 and the 20. Within the wedge, and then we came back up to it here, got 3 touches, 3 drives to a high, and then crashed down. This was the opportunity. This was the other opportunity here for the NASDAQ, was surrounding the 50 period moving average. I told you that if we got back below it, usually you get a 1, 2, and then you start, you kind of get like this dip, another dip, rebound, get a higher high, and then you move lower. That's what I've noticed. So maybe this is, the double dip that we're looking for on a closing basis. It does make sense, and it is important to look at both here. As you can see, on a closing basis, we did get that, but on a non-closing basis, with the wicks in, we didn't get that. So maybe this is the 2-wave move down before we move up here a little bit higher than this peak, and we get a lower high still. So we'll still be looking at what happens here. Excuse me, I had a little issue. All right, so next up, let's see, US 500 still at the 50, trying to get it back above the 50, looking positive for now. Really not much else to say here about the markets. We are looking a little bit positive going into today, but it is at the open that everything goes down. So we're going to be watching to see what exactly happens here. US 500 is up 0.72%. That's a pretty big rally here. US 2000 is up 1.23%. And I warned you about this critical level, and I warned you about the NASDAQ being, right surrounding the 200 here, and the NASDAQ index being right around the 50 period moving average here, as it was getting a bullish cross, and we were dropping back into it while it was getting a bullish cross with the 200. So, right now it still looks bullish. Still looks bullish to me. Are we getting any viewers yet? Nobody. But that's cool. You can watch this video at a later date. Maybe I won't make it too long because not too many people are watching. Just showing you the cash index for the Russell. It is, at critical right now. This is the critical level, and we're bouncing off of it. So we'll be watching. Do we get a higher low? Or do we get a lower low? Or do we go and get a lower low and form a ton of divergences throughout time frames? Or what happens? Let me just take a look. What's happening on Tesla? Okay. Tesla is kind of in no man's land here. On the hourly chart, the 4-hour chart of Tesla is right back to its 200. So we do have major support. We do have a bullish alignment of the moving averages for now, even though it's getting a little bit close to the 200. Signs are still positive here on Tesla. I mean, there isn't any real sign that we're looking bearish. We are getting very, very compressed on Tesla. So I think the next move is going to be big. And when I say the next move, I don't mean exactly where it's going to go today. You could have a strong move down here to fake people that, oh, we broke the downside of the triangle before a bounce that just goes absolutely crazy here to the upside, or vice versa. You could get a break to the upside that makes everyone think it's going to go bullish, and then it just absolutely dies here to the downside. So for now, we've had 1-2, which looks like an ABC. This could very well be 1-2, 1-2, and we're going into 1-2-3. So the third of the third of the third, or something like that. So it could be a very bullish time for Tesla, but we'll be obviously watching what happens. Right now, market is looking kind of bullish, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I did kind of expect this because of the close that we had. The close here on NASDAQ, as you can see, I told you about this. We had a close and we got a lower high. I mean, we got a higher low. As you can see, we closed, and the last 15 minutes they bought that area up. So that's a pretty good sign that maybe either we're rallying into these moving averages and we're going to drop off, or if we get back above them, are we going to go sideways here? We could go a little bit sideways to get the moving averages back above the 50, so we'll really be watching to see what happens. We do have a little head and shoulders pattern that's been validated here on the NASDAQ. So let me just go ahead and measure that. I'll draw the pattern out for you as well. I'm seeing it right now. Where is my head and shoulders? Here we go. We got like a little left shoulder, a head, and some sort of right shoulder here that we have validated. And this pattern measures down to, let's see. So that pattern right there measures down right to around 14,831. That is the minimum target. And if we do in fact get there, which we probably are, we're definitely going to go lower. That's the minimum. So yeah, I mean, I'm seeing new lows here on the NASDAQ, or maybe just a return to this critical point, somewhere within like this box to really scare everybody out. Somewhere within this box right here, or somewhere within this box. Actually, I'll probably have to somewhere either there, and if we break that, then probably like right around there. So we'll really be watching what happens here.